Everybody, welcome back to American History. Today we have a negative topic, actually. Things had been going very well for us in American history throughout the 20s. The war had ended. The stock market was doing well. Changing of culture. People were out and about. People were mingling. Tough times had kind of, gone away. We had factory jobs. People had money. People were going to baseball events and clubs and doing all this stuff. We did, however, in the 1920s see a rise in organized crime. However, generally speaking, most people felt that, hey, as long as I don't do anything wrong, that crime is not going to affect me. People that end up, disappearing obviously did something wrong, and that's why they did. So it wasn't as if you would walk outside and, things were dangerous for you. So even with the rise of organized crime, there was still a sense of the 1920s being a very positive, good time for the people. And the stock market just kept rising. Let's get to this. This is the important thing. Oh, look how nice this is. Stock market. All right. I'm going to give you a brief rundown because this is not economy class, but the stock market is where you go if you want to invest in a company. If I want to put some of my money and buy a portion of a company, the stock market is where I would go. So that you understand this, let's take a company like Netflix. You guys like Netflix, I'm sure. Netflix is a corporation, meaning that technically, I can go to the stock market, or in today's world, I can go to a bank or a brokerage or someone who sells Netflix, like shares of it, and I can buy a portion of Netflix. I can buy what's called, I don't want to get too much into this, but you do need to understand a little bit. I would buy one share of Netflix. All right. In fact, I can even, while we're here, just like I would do in regular class, when talking about the stock market, I would stop and say, hey, Siri, what is one share of Netflix cost?
Netflix is down $5.
Wow. That's a lot. Here we go. I'm not going to round it off. I'm just going to tell you it is $503. Wow. That's a pretty expensive share of Netflix. So what happens is, if I wanted to be an owner of Netflix, I want to own Netflix. I want to be an owner of the company of Netflix. I could go and buy one share for $500, $503. Does that mean I have any decision making in Netflix? Are they listening to anything I say? No, not at all. There are hundreds, thousands, who knows how many thousands of shares of Netflix there are. They have a board of directors that makes decisions for that company and everything else. However, technically, I own this little piddly share of Netflix. So at the end of the year, when profits come, I get my one share worth of profits. I might get, in today's world, my bank account connected to it. I might get one day I get a deposit for $2. Hey, good for me. But I made $2, right? I bought this and I made this. If I keep that one share, every year I get $2. Maybe I buy another share, I get $4. Maybe I buy another one, I get $6. And it goes up and down. But the point that I'm making is stocks are basically how you would invest in a company like I just explained with Netflix. Today I really could, I don't know if I could, go buy one share of Netflix and I would be an owner of Netflix. And I would, hold on to it, and that's great. As the stock market and the economy does well, the share might go up in price. Ooh, things are going good for Netflix. Things are going good in our country. Tomorrow I wake up and this one share of Netflix doesn't cost $503 anymore. Oh my goodness, it had a huge jump up to $515. Ooh, good for me. I bought it at $503 and now it's up to $515. If I went and sold my one share, if I sold it right now, I would make $12 just from, I bought it today, I sell it tomorrow, I made 12 bucks. Good for me. However, if it can go up, it can also go. Whoop. Tomorrow I wake up. Uh-oh. It's $470 for the one share. Oh my goodness. That's not good. $33. I'm down $33. Yikes. Does that mean I got to pay $33? No. I hold on to my one share. I bought it for this. I hope it goes that way. I hope it keeps going that way. I hope it goes to like $600 a share. But it could. It could go the other way. If the stock market the economy starts to do poorly, the prices of these stocks will go down. So I might own a share of Starbucks, might own a share of Netflix, a share of whatever Apple, whatever company, and that is how I make money over time on that one share. Hopefully the price goes up, not down. But in the stock market is where you do that. Now, let's get back on track. At the end of the 1920s, we are going to see something. I believe I'm looking at the times right here. I'm not going to tell you all of the dates about this. In fact, I'm not going to tell you any of the dates about this. It's going to be at the end of the 1920s. It's going to hit just know 1929, because there's different dates. It goes down in stages. But the important thing is, in 1929, end of the 1920s, we are going to see the stock market, actually what it's going to do, it's called stock market crash. The stock market crash. Now, what does this mean? It means that stock prices start to drop. And here's the thing. All of a sudden, let's take our example of my $500 Netflix. All of a sudden I wake up and, like I said, it was down to $450. I'm like, oh man, that's not good. You know what? I'll hold on to it. The next day, it's down to $400. I'm like, dude, it's losing a ton of money. It's losing a ton. This isn't good. The next day I wake up, it's $325. Oh my gosh! At this rate, it's going to be zero. And I'm going to have this $500 share that now is zero. I've lost $500. Sell, 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 sell. I want to sell it right now. I will take the loss. I will sell it for $325 because if I keep it, it'll go down to zero. So let me get rid of it now. I'll get rid of it right now. And I sell it. And I sell it back. And I sell it to someone. Someone buys it. The point is, I lost money, but I got out here. Here's the thing. When you sell, I sold it, so there's more stock, right? So this is this is very economic here, but think about this. More of something. And I'll just tell you the answer so I can explain it. Makes it less valuable. Right? So, if there's more of something, it doesn't cost as much. I think the example I used before is the number one foam finger. I can make a ton of them. You can just make them and produce them, throw them out there. There's 100 million of them. Are they worth a lot? No, like $2. There's a ton of it, so it's less expensive. What did I just do? I just sold my share of Netflix back. So did everyone else. They're like, oh, God, get me out of here. So now there's a whole bunch more of Netflix stock out there that you could buy. The problem is when there's a whole bunch of it, it makes it less valuable. So the price continues to drop. Now, follow me now on this. Everybody is starting to sell all their shares of every company. General Electric and U.S. Steel and all of these big name companies. Everyone's like, yikes, I'm losing money. I sell. Now there's a whole bunch of stocks out there. The prices of these stocks start to go down. The companies that had these stocks, they're starting to lose money. So the first thing is when the stock market crashes, the first people to suffer are the investors. Investors suffer. Who are the investors? Well, me. Right? I suffer because I lost money. My stock is now worthless, or if I kept it. If I sold it and lost money. It's not good. This is really unfortunate for me, the investor. However, the stock market crash of 1929 is going to put us into what we call the Great Depression. The Great Depression. Why do we get to a Great Depression? Well, like I just said, these companies start to lose money. So, when companies start to lose money, companies do this. They do something called downsizing. So these companies start to downsize. What does that mean? Well, they start to get smaller. How do you get smaller as a company? Well, that says close factories. Well, think about this. If I close a factory, what is a result of this? People, everyday people lose their jobs. That's the next thing. People lose their jobs. That's no good. Follow this. People now have no money. They might have some savings, but they go through it pretty quick. There's no money. What does a person do if they don't have money and they don't have a job? Well, look for new jobs, right? What did I just say? There's no new jobs. Factories were shutting down. Factories were downsizing. They were closing factories. People were out of work. They now didn't have any money. They could not support their family. They could not pay rent. They could not take care of anything, and they could not find a job. That is the Great Depression. All of a sudden, our economy hits the skids. As these companies start to downsize and try just to get through these things, the everyday people are the ones who are going to absolutely suffer during this time period. I know I did a lot of explaining here, but the important thing is to understand this. 1929, the Great Depression hits. The Great Depression is going to have ripple effects around the world. The global economy that we're in with Europe and other places is going to have an effect on different countries, which we'll look at. But to understand this completely, think about the people of the time. You are a person who goes to work every day. All of a sudden you get there one day, sorry, we're closed. You don't have a job. Immediately don't have a job. You can't find another job. What do you do? How rough is life going to be? And how do we try and get out of this Great Depression? Which leads me to your assignment today, because we will talk a little bit about what comes next. But let's take a look at the Great Depression. Great Depression, I want 5 facts about the Great Depression. So there are plenty of things to talk about the Great Depression, but I want you to type it in and find out some things about what was going on during this time period. What did people do? Really anything. I mean, like 5 facts, just 5 anything. I mean, there are so many things about this Great Depression that you could write about, but give me your notes and that assignment today for attendance and participation purposes. And then when we come back, we'll look at what comes next. Now that, hey, the Roaring 20s are over. Things were great for a decade, it seemed like. Everyone was making money in the stock market, investing. The economy was good. Everyone had a job. 1930s, unfortunately, are going to be a much different time than the 1920s were. So, again, on that note, get this to me today, and I will see you next class.